Welcome, everyone. It is Tuesday night, second Tuesday in December, and we're back for another evening of train fun. Tonight we have an interesting lineup. We have Robin Peel back to give us a lot more detail about the 42nd Narrow Gauge Convention coming up in September in Seattle, Tacoma, I should say. Jeff Millman will be back. He was with us last month, but he's being joined by Al Collins this month to talk about painting brass locomotives. And our layout tonight is going to be a real treat for you, especially RGS fans, because this is a beautiful HON3 layout that Craig Symington, who you have seen written up in the Gazette quite often, and we're going to have a nice visit on his layout. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things right over to Robin, who you've all met before. Robin is the chair of the convention, and will be giving us some more details. Robin, over to you.
Thanks, Jerry. So you should be seeing my screen now.
We got it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. So for the last few months, I've started a lot of these off the beaten track sessions by going through the basics of the convention next year. Everything's going great. Things are moving ahead nicely. So rather than go through the basics, today Russ asked me to go a bit of a deeper dive into some of the things we're actually going to be doing. But I'll just summarize it quickly. Yep, next year, September the 1st to the 4th, so a day later than normally. We're doing it Thursday through Sunday, not Wednesday through Saturday, remember that. And of course, you can register now at seattlenngc.com. So today, what I thought we'd do, a couple of updates. First of all, Dave, I think you're on the call. Have a little talk about the contest and what the contest rules and categories will be like. It's all pretty straightforward, but Dave's our contest chair. And then Dale Kreutzer was going to walk through the layout tour, some of the layouts we've got. We've already got a lot of them on our website. If you haven't looked at the website in the last few days, we now have, I think, 20, and I have another one to add maybe tonight to the layout tour page of the website. And Dale was going to walk through that. He's got stuck, I think, in the doctor's office and may not to get here, but I will walk through what he was going to say anyway, but on the layout tours. So Dave, did you want to just say a few words about the contest? And I will bring up the website and show the contest page whilst you do that.
Okay, thanks. I just printed it up, so I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to have any reference to it, but thanks. We're I don't want to say plodding along, but we're gradually getting things organized. We've been doing some massaging on the contest rules in particular. One issue was raised by several guys about the restriction on the width of the base for a structure, and I think they were really good points, and so we've changed that. There was a 1-inch restriction for the base around the base of the model, but if you have a structure such as a mine or something that has many indentations around it, we figured that the builder would spend more time working on the base than on the structure. So we've removed that restriction. Just leave it up to the builder's judgment. Remember, the base is supposed to be there to support the structure, and the larger it is, it means it takes up more space on the table. So we request that each person use what they need, but don't exceed what we would consider to be reasonable. No penalty if it's more than an inch. I'm not going to worry about that. We should have the contest forms up on the website, I believe in January. That's what we were speaking of before. And just doing a few modifications to the forms themselves. Hopefully it'll make it nice and easy to understand. And you'll be able to download those right off the website. There'll be the contest model and photo contest entry form, a copy of the rules, and then what we call is a description sheet that we would encourage each entrant to give us as much information as you can about your entry. More the better. It makes it easier for the people who view them to make it come to an opinion on it. And also, if there's some additional documentation that you'd like to put up there, We'll say right now anyway that that's okay, but if you play, and we'll place it around the models on the display area. But if as time goes on, and we hopefully have a lot of entries, if the space becomes critical, we may have to remove some of that documentation and return to the owner so that we can get all the models in there and for viewing. So we're hoping that we'll have a lot of interest and participation. There's the picture of the categories. Those are just like they were at Hickory. So I don't think there's any real modification we needed there. But please, if you're thinking about building something and entering it, we encourage you to do so. We think we're going to have a real nice display area there in the hotel. So it should be a very nice contest. Always, in my opinion, one of the highlights of the convention. Any questions? Okay. Back to you, Robin.
No, thank you, Dave. And by the way, if you did want to ask any questions, you might be on mute. I think our host might have muted everybody. So I think if you press the space bar like a push to talk switch, it will unmute you or unmute yourself the usual way on Zoom. Thanks, Dave. So the other thing, if you've been watching the website recently, the layout tours have actually come along quite a lot. So this has been harder this year because of COVID. Our layout tour hosts, Dale Kreutzer and Roger Knowlton, want to only propose layouts on the layout tours, which they personally are aware of and have visited recently. So COVID's made that a lot harder. But we're actually very happy. We actually now have 20, and in fact, I just got a new one today, 21 layouts which have been endorsed. Actually, Dave, we haven't endorsed yours yet, but you're going to be away, right? I think, so we can't really do yours. Yeah, but we have 20 right now. So I do encourage you to come to the website and look here. And we've done them all in a consistent format. And what we're particularly pleased about here in Seattle is the majority of them are narrow gauge layouts, and some of them are standard gauge layouts with narrow gauge on them. But I think we have about 20 so far on here, which are layouts, and I think 12 are purely narrow gauge, and another few are a mixed gauge. So there's a few here that you've probably seen before, like Bill Busaka. And if you go to any of these pages, you have a little description and between 6 and 10 photographs of it. And I think you're all familiar with Bill's beautiful layout. I just picked that one as an example. But there are also some which you may not have seen before. I'm trying to think of one. This is an interesting one for me, Dick Carnes. It's not narrow gauge, but it's got a beautiful model of the New Haven with catenary here, very close to downtown Seattle on Mercer Island. It's a beautiful layout. So that's a slightly different one, but beautifully done, and not many of you may have seen that one before. And Roger Knowlton, he's part of our committee. His is standard gauge S, but a beautiful model of the Monon, so that's well worth going down to see. And that's actually probably the closest layout to the convention center. He actually lives in Tacoma, so he's probably a 5-minute drive, maybe 10 minutes from the convention center. Another good one here is the Puget Sound Model Railroad Engineers layout at the Washington State History Museum. So why is that interesting? Well, it's a beautiful model of the Pacific Northwest and the railroads around there. And it's large. It's on, I think, the top floor of the museum. But the really nice thing is it's finished and complete. And we actually have videos, tours of it on our 4th division of the NMRA website. So if you want to see that, let me know. But it's within walking distance of the hotel. So it's in downtown Tacoma. So you can walk there, I think, within less than 5 minutes from the hotel. It's a beautiful layout, as you can see from here. It's a lot of good detail. It's large in scope, multiple decks. It's open to the public. They're a great ambassador for us, and that's really, really close. So if you bring spouses, family along, they'll really enjoy going there. To the museum as well. That's a pretty cool place. So that's well worth it to have some nice details about that. Dave Yaddock's here, for example, has a beautiful HO layout and some HON3 here in Seattle. His is what a few people have done. It's based, well, it's themed of, he's inspired by John Allen's Gory and Defeated. So he has a big thunder cloud in the corner and flashing lightning and things like you see right here. It's actually pretty cool, but it's beautiful in scale and scope. That's a nice layout. So I wasn't going to go through all 20 of them here, but I wanted to let you know that if you look on the website, you can look here, we have Greg Wright. I guess Greg's probably on the call today, I don't know. He has a beautiful larger scale layout with really interesting operations, unusual scale, and that's what he told me it was. I'm not sure. I guess that's right, 1/32 narrow gauge, 20-inch. I guess that's it. He also has, he just finished building an outdoor garden railroad, which you can also see when you go there. So we have some interesting and unusual ones here, along with some of the old favorites. Mike O'Connell, which I think you probably all know as Chooch, the owner of, or the former owner of Chooch Enterprises. I think he just retired from that. Woohoo! He has a beautiful O scale layout, but it is Proto 48, so it's fine scale track standards and an enormous thing in a dedicated building. So I just wanted to give you an idea of the scope of the layout tours here, and we've tried to put them on here. There's 20 so far. I think we're hoping to have between 30 and 40, probably the mid-30s of them. I say I've got one more ready to go. And, Dave said the contest is his favorite part of the conventions. Mine is actually the layout tours, because I love going there and I crawl under the benchwork and look at how they built it and ask a lot of questions. If it runs well, I hang around for hours and maybe try and grab a throttle and run something. That is my favorite part. And I think we're gonna have a really good variety of layouts, some well-known names, some interesting scales. So I think, we're really blessed to have so many great layouts up here in the Pacific Northwest. So that's what I want to say about the convention this week, is to focus on the contest and the layout tours. The website will always a place to come and get the best information. A couple of other quick things about the website. I have actually added here an exhibitor or vendor listing. So we have a growing list of vendors. These are people who have paid and bought their tables. It's a pretty good list already. It's growing. And I have links to their websites on here. So please go there and have a look. And we're actually really pleased so many vendors have signed up already. So the final thing, let me just go down to where I was meant to be. The final thing I want to say was, anything else to say about the convention? Well, yeah, registrations are trickling in. We had a big surge, but we're having a little steady stream now. We'd like to have more, just because of these complicated times. We want to have the comfort and commitment of you all to, oh God, I'm coming American. I said you all. Oh, well, forgive me. I'll strike that from the recording, please. My family will hate that. But because you will all, we want to know who all is, oh God, who is coming to Seattle. So to give us that confidence about what we're actually doing. It'd be great if you register early. It's not just about the money, it's just about to have that support. So please do that if you're thinking about it already. Russ and our fearless leader, Russ Segner, and Fred Hamilton, they're working on merchandise. I know a lot of you really want the shirts. We have the logos, getting quotes to actually print that. Again, a bit slowed down by COVID about not going around, but we'll put that on the website, early in the new year. And likewise for what we call extra fair tours, that's been difficult to actually do because, again, we can't get out there and visit people, or haven't been able to much this year. But yes, we will have some. We have lots of interesting things to see around the Tacoma area and the whole Puget Sound area, like the LeMay Auto Museum, the History Museum I already mentioned, maybe the Mount Rainier Scenic Railroad, if we can figure something out for them. So we will have some possibilities of maybe extra fair tours or discounted places you can actually go and see. So I think that's about it for tonight. I don't want to go on too long. I think you know where to go to register. Please do. But if anyone has any questions, you can ask them in the chat or email info@seattlenngc.com. That comes directly to me. And if it's complicated, I'll send it to somebody else on the team, particularly our registrar, Barry and Janice Dupler, who between them are doing a great job on that. But any quick questions now that I can answer, or I think our time is probably almost up. Any quick questions now I can answer?
What's the hotel occupancy right now?
It's pretty high. I think we're up to about 80 or 90% of the room block is already sold out. And it's always interesting, right, that way more people have booked a hotel room than have registered. So I do say, if you've booked a hotel room, please register. We'd like to know you're coming. That's actually really quite helpful. Russ is helping me look at some alternate secondary hotels in the neighborhood. And there's actually a couple of Marriott's, like literally a block down the road. So trying to get a block at a good rate there. But right now the rates are still too high. We're trying to negotiate them down on that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Robin and Dave. Really great to hear the plans for the convention. I think this is, I think all of us are really looking forward to being back on the West Coast and seeing some great narrow gauge models and seeing our friends again and meeting some people we've only met online. So it'd be great if we guys can pull this off, and if circumstance allows, it'd be terrific.